Okay, we are now on to game three of the bottom bracket finals, Myth World Cup 2020. We've got Business Associates versus my team with LSO captaining. Only lineup change here: Spoon has been swapped in for Argos. So those two have been bouncing back and forth. If we look at the trades, pretty standard setup, maybe a little bit archer heavy here. We got Max Pus, we have 20 archers and a single dwarf. On the side of Paris, they have fewer archers, looks like roughly 15 or so. Four dwarfs, otherwise Max Pus. They do get some Thrall, which is interesting. I don't know that Thrall are particularly useful here typically, but it is what it is. So, interestingly, as we get into the pregame here, LSO's team is chatting about Paris's love of bottle pus. So we're going to watch Karma's goal coming over. So we're watching over here to see if bottle pus are being generated. You'll notice that my pus, or my goal rather, comes in and picks up a large pus. However, as we see this play out, LSO tells me that it is a dud pus. I check. It is in fact not a dud pus. LSO then spares me this goal, Snapper, which was Spoons, and confirms to me that this is a dud pus. So we toss the pus. It also not a dud pus. At this point, our team is a little bit tilted, but we're starting the game a little bit of a disadvantage, 2 pus down. So from a strategy perspective, there's a few ways you can play this map. That's just a funny little aside. A couple ways you can play this map. You can jug aside with like a max melee rush. It's very risky, but it could work. You can go all one way and just do a slow push with your archers. That guarantees your ability to push them off, right? Because you're going to have a massive advantage while they have to react. Or you can play more reactively. Here, both teams choose to play pretty reactively. We've got a melee-heavy flank here where you've got a Dren and Verminex. They could push this, but it's going to be pretty hard. We've got a Warlock here that's going to stop that pretty easily. Mid is basically a total standoff, and so is East. So trading for this many archers and doing nothing for Mystery Men is a mistake. Because what this means is at the end game, when they inevitably attempt to rush, you have a bunch of archers and you don't necessarily have yourself in a position where you can counter or mark or match up with all of the melee, which is could potentially be unfortunate. So nothing happening. Again, both teams playing this quite passively. Adren's trying to do some bottle tricks, but again, nothing to see here. A couple of goals have died. For each team. That's what the 1% difference is about. Donsky pushes Adren a bit, so Adren backs off. Doesn't lose anything. Donsky invests a couple fire arrows. That's fine. Ours and Karma are kind of shifting their Warlock packs here just to make sure that no melee gets through. Fast forwarding some more. Okay, now we've seen is this Kroon? Yeah, Kroniak has shifted over and is now East. But their west flank still hasn't moved much. So 5 minutes left. I'm focusing mostly on Paris' team because LSO's team pretty much just camps the entire game. Paris' team does appear to be shifting a little bit more east. Adren is still acting as if he's going to try to push to get into the backfield here, but nothing much is happening. So now Verminix is called over. So my team had shifted quite a bit over east. So Verminix is now threatening to rush Zell. He backs off. Captain backs off as well. Now Kruniak pushes. So a couple of callouts here. I think just mispositionings. I think particularly as Zell moves over here to address this east flank, LSO needs to be moving to replace him. Instead, what you see is we're reacting more to Adren's very small melee force. So Zell leaves and goes east. LSO leaves and goes west. This opens up a giant hole. And into that giant hole, you've got 21% of the enemy team that's being sort of welcomed in. So LSO does shift over, but at this point, Verm and Captain are already up. LSO is now in this weird spot where if he continues to run this way, he's in danger of being rushed. if he goes around, he's in danger of not being able to assist fast enough. This rush is being handled pretty well right now. We're actually up 7%. Kruniak basically suicided all of his units. So it was a good initial defense. A couple more, again, additional good lock shots. Thierry blocks a pass. I am able to block a pass here on a lock as well. But at this point, like I said, so LSO is now spared units over to Blade. Because we didn't have mid blocked off, you've got this archer threat, and you also have some melee here. Kruniak's one surviving Heron is alive. And the call in our voice chat, we want both locks to basically get here, to run south, have Blade's team run defense, and basically survive. Over here, this is focused on bottling up Adren. And Donsky is matched up against, what's left of Adren's forces. So I guess, again, hindsight being 2020, since everything is left here, there is a world in which Donsky does try to push this. They do have 3 blocks in the backfield, or where Donsky collapses back a bit sooner. Didn't really make that call, and I'm not sure we were aware that everything had left. So here we go, back again to this rush. We've got Zell and Thierry doing a pretty good job along with Spoon. It actually looks right at this instant as if this is a very obvious tie, because these 2 locks can continue to retreat west. We do need Blade to match up here against Captain. So, again, I would call this a bit of a misplay. I think Thierry is dancing a little bit too far southeast and firing on this, whereas if he were running further west, I think the team would be in a better position to help. A screw up on my part. At this point, I see Adrenaline's units, as I'm retreating my lock. So, opportunity here for either Spoon or for one of my 2 units to basically escort this Warlock back. Right here, again, the only unit in this game that matters at this point is Herons and these archers. The archers we let up, unfortunately, mid. This Heron, now that this melee is retreated a little bit further south, is in trouble, but it's still healthy. So again, really want to see archers shooting this. Ours in our voice chat did see it. Lock does survive with 1 hit left, but unfortunately a stray arrow manages to snipe it with a couple seconds left. We had 1 lock that went on offense, one goal that went on offense. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out. Hindsight, looking back, just reviewing plays of the game, starting off with 2 pass down, I wouldn't say impacted the result of the match. I think what it did do is it put us on the back foot. So while we were already trading for a pretty reactive strategy, and we were basically talking about playing from tying from the beginning, it really accelerated that and made us less likely to take any risks or advantages. I think mistake number 2, we had too much allocated west. When Exel shifted over to the rush, we could have held this hill, and that would have made it harder for Vermin Captain to get up. And then number 3, combination, I think our Warlock could have retreated further west and south, as opposed to running off a little bit east. And I think overall, both Blade and I could have reacted a little bit sooner. Me with the melee was probably going to be the easiest choice. Blade could have maybe bailed us out. Even then, they're at risk from an archer perspective. I do agree with Lemp. I mean, the way that we ended up playing this out, we were basically playing for a tie and had no shot at coming out with a win. Paris's team also playing for either a tie or a win, right? So the more aggressive team puts themselves in a position to snipe the lock. So credit to Paris's team for that. Monty comes away with damage. I do think you got to give Kroon and Captain the play of the game. They both put themselves in a position to be able to snipe that Warlock. Spoon did an impressive job putting up 25 damage in a losing fight. I'd say the rest of us didn't really do much. And with that, this is now 2-1 in favor of Paris's team. And really, those are 2 pretty tilting losses. So it'll be interesting to see how my team's able to bounce back.